Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Good morning and welcome to Share Talk. I am Bonnie Hughes. Today we are speaking with Alien Metals. They have a diversified portfolio of assets, DSO iron ore assets, and a past producing silver mine in Western Australia, 2 silver projects and a copper gold project in Mexico, and an exploration license in Greenland. And here to give us an update on the company is Bill Brodie Good. Hello, Bill.
Morning, Bonnie.
So the company just issued a news release today on the Hancock iron ore project on results from your second phase of drilling. And you commented in the release that our Hancock iron ore project is shaping up to be a significant development opportunity for Alien, and we now have nearly all data to calculate a maiden JORC resource at Sirius. Do you want to tell us about this release?
Yeah, sure. And always good to catch up. We're highly excited by the Hancock project. As the release states, we haven't had all the results back from the laboratory. There's still significant backlog in processing. However, the first batch of seven holes of the 10 we did at Sirius as the infill for potential resource calculation work came back extremely well, almost better than we hoped, but still significant in that great intercepts, 70 plus meters at 61%, iron, 68 meters at 58.5% from 11 meters. So I think the other significance is they tie up really well. So they look, we've sort of modeled, provisional modeling shows that there's an ore body there that essentially is from surface, and it's the continuation of the Sirius body defined historically. Fantastic for us. And I think the other significance of this is that with the team at Mining Plus, who have started doing a very high level sort of scoping study type study on this project, they already feel that there's great potential that this could well be a niche standalone project on its own right, without the need of huge infrastructure and building railways and all the traditional aspects that go with iron ore mining, as proven by other companies, a couple of companies already in Western Australia.
And what are the next steps for Hancock?
The next steps, obviously, we're waiting for the final results. So there's 3 more holes to get for Sirius, which means then we have the complete data set for Sirius to enable then Howard Baker, our resource man, to do his thing and hopefully produce a JORC compliant initial resource, as well as we will then have the data, the drilling information from our other targets on the Western Ridges, which is the other focus of the phase 2 work. I think I mentioned in the announcement, we already have a phase 3 program sort of lined up. We're hoping the results from the Western Ridges will be comparable to Sirius in terms of very similar grades to the XRF, if not better, which will then hopefully trigger us to be able to do the next phase of drilling on the Western Ridges area, specifically Ridges C and E, along the strike length we already know or have tested, so sort of 2.5 to 3 kilometer strike length. And in conjunction with that, looking at putting a team on the ground to test the remainder of this essentially the ridge systems, because they're still, we've only really touched about, as I say, about 15% of the surface of this tenement. No one else has been on any area as far as we could find from all historical studies, and we feel the ridge systems, the DSO-grade material, there's still a significant amount to be explored and developed.
Can you give us a conservative estimate of when you would expect to have a resource completed?
Yeah, that's always. I don't want to give false expectations, so we will just be working hard in the background to produce that in a timely fashion. I don't want to put a date or a too close a time on it, because things change, people's availability. We might have to do some extra data checking. So as soon as in a timely fashion. It's a priority for us, let's face it, because it's a significant step for the project, I think, for the company. So yeah, it's definitely something we're working towards in a fairly high priority way.
And so has this project gone beyond your expectations?
I think it has, in terms of, we always knew when we first got involved in the project, we knew from the historical volta drilling there was a serious extension potential ore body sitting within our tenement. What we weren't sure of is the remainder of the tenement, and we felt there was potential from some very limited surface sampling, but that's the excitement, I suppose, of exploration. So as it stands, it's looking extremely good, extremely positive. And as I say, with Mining Plus doing what they do really well and having the very recent experience and knowledge of a similar project that is now in production, I think we've got a great team, a really great team of like supporting, consulting people who've sort of been there, done that, and are helping us, guide us in the right direction, and driving this project forward.
And keeping with your projects in Australia, you also put out news last week on Elizabeth Hill that you are starting an inaugural drill program. Now, Elizabeth Hill was produced one of the largest silver nuggets that weighed in at 145 kilograms. So that sounds like a very interesting project. So what are you doing with Elizabeth Hill?
Well, yeah. So Elizabeth Hill, obviously, same part of the world, very different sort of commodity, very different geology. We've done a lot of research. There's a huge amount of work had been done over many years over that project area, and of course, culminating in the deposit, the mining or the partial mining of the incredibly high-grade silver ore body. However, in our studies and our research, we feel a lot of areas were not properly tested in terms of geologically and the mineralization types. There was a great focus on silver, and the odd sort of, there might be some nickel here, or there might be a bit of copper there, or there might be some platinum group metals here, but never followed up to any consistent extent. So we are very excited by the program. They're drilling today. It's taken us longer than we hoped, but that's exploration. Let's not forget, we're still in a COVID world, so there's still quite restrictive aspects in obtaining equipment and people, and making sure that everyone's working in a safe manner and coming home safely. So very excited by the program. It's a seven-hole program to essentially test the ore body, the areas underdeveloped, we feel, but also to test the surrounding geology and what we feel is a larger mineralized system that exists, sort of, that sits around the Elizabeth Hill, the silver ore body. So that's underway. And again, I think I mentioned recently, one of my biggest frustrations is I can't be physically standing there watching the core come out, being on the ground with the team. But at the same time, we're very fortunate to have a really good team of people supporting and doing the work to make sure it's of the highest standard and properly brought in.
And are you working on having access to all the underground workings at Elizabeth Hill?
Yeah, we're looking at, that would be another great aspect to have. We're talking with the original miner who did most of the underground development from surface. He's really keen to help us, so we're in discussion with him about how we would get back down, basically dewater the old workings, make them safe, head frame at the top to allow people and equipment to get down, and then work up the remaining ore and the potential from in situ, so from underground. So that's ongoing as well. And of course, talking with the mines department for all the correct permitting and everything required to do that.
So you touched on Unimuni, which envelops Elizabeth Hill, and you completed an airborne magnetic survey. So what's next for that portion of the project?
Yeah, again, there's a significant number of targets in that Money North tenement, the exploration license around Elizabeth Hill. We've got, almost on a daily basis, we come up with a new thought, a new concept, a new target to look at. We're just, again, finalizing the necessary paperwork to allow us to to get on the ground and do more, say, trenching or drilling. We are able to do mapping at the moment and sort of surface sampling, which one of our geologists has been doing last few days while the drill rig was getting to site. And more recently, we did do a small program of some recon work, which we're looking forward to add to the pot and bring forward. But yeah, there's so many targets. It's quite incredible, and really we just again need have that clear permission and access to really hit the ground hard to be able to really start testing these. As I say, with trenching, with drilling, to really start moving them forward as well.
Well, it sounds like a very exciting time for Alien Metals, and it seems you have a lot going on, which means we can expect a lot of news flow coming in the next few months.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, it's still Australia's, having a harder time at the moment than possibly the last few months with COVID. They've always been very careful with closing borders, with managing the spread of infections. So that's quite tight at the moment, but we're very fortunate that we have teams on the ground. We have teams within Western Australia, which is still open to work, to move around inside to be able to push forward. But we have to work with that. So absolutely, it's really exciting times. There are certain delays with the laboratory processing, as has happened, in the last many months, really. But we just work with that and hopefully manage that. And everyone understands that sometimes it does take longer than the normal, whatever normal is or was, to get those results and to process them and to update everybody. But that's our aim, of course. And it's we're in an incredibly fortunate position with all of these projects, and looking forward to exploring them and advising everybody on what we've got.
Yes, getting assay results seems to be a global problem. So you're in the same boat as a lot of companies.
No, absolutely, and but I think it can sometimes people, it is frustrating for everybody, but we just have to go with the flow, understand the issues, and not push it, because again, you want the right quality. You don't, you'd rather have it slower and the better quality than push things along and have errors creeping in.
Well, Bill, thank you very much for joining us and giving us an update, and we look forward to speaking with you again.
Well, Bonnie, lovely to speak to you, and as I say, look forward to catching up again soon with more exciting news.
And thank you everyone for joining us on Share.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.